Now, Stormwatch 12 weather on Newswatch 12.
Well, yesterday we had a few light showers in the region, and those have actually pushed well up into Washington state at this particular time because we have a pretty good southwesterly flow and we've had variable clouds throughout the region. Now we also have a pretty strong system offshore that has been developing over the last 24 hours. And this system is pretty juicy in terms of its atmospheric content. We're going to be looking at some pretty decent rain in parts of the region. That southwesterly flow has allowed temperatures to warm up rather nicely. We were in the 60s and 70s, 74 in Medford, 75 for Lakeview and Klamath Falls, 80 though in Montague. You were warm because of a south wind all day, and it was 67 degrees in Brookings. So we're going to continue with the clouds on the increase for the next several hours, and generally speaking, between about 5 and 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, we'll start seeing the rain develop along the Oregon coast, and it will be heavy at times. Now, after say about 8 to 11 o'clock, that's when we should start seeing that rain moving up and down I-5 and eventually making it into Siskiyou County as well into the late morning. But the heaviest rainfall should be roughly between about 10 in the morning to about noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the Rogue Valley. We get into the afternoon hours and we'll start seeing that rain making it east the Cascades out towards Klamath Falls, but it really kind of starts to fall apart as it makes it east of the Cascades, and maybe a few showers out towards Lakeview for tomorrow late afternoon, but other than that, it's not going to be very active east of the Cascades. Now, once we get really past midnight, all the activity is really kind of tapered off, and I kind of froze it here at 2 o'clock in the morning to kind of represent a good indication that we could be looking at fog, especially out towards Lakeview, maybe even Klamath Falls and into parts of the Rogue Valley. But when I fast forward this, there's no fog, so don't be surprised if we do see fog tomorrow morning in certain spots. Now, rainfall forecast for the day tomorrow, we're looking at about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain for the southern Oregon Cascades. The heaviest rain will be along the Oregon coast and the coastal mountains, the coast range, essentially 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Now, for Rogue, Applegate, and Illinois valleys, we're looking at about 1/10 inch to 1/4 inch. East side, not very much. We'll be just generally looking at hundredths of an inch of rain, so less than 1/10 inch. Shasta Valley, maybe 1/10 to 2/10 inch of rain. This particular rainfall model does a decent job of showing those particular amounts, but we'll be generally looking at about 1/4 inch to maybe 1/2 inch over towards Grants Pass. So our system that'll be moving through tomorrow, it races on off, but it's a pretty strong one, which will give us some pretty good rain along the Oregon coast. But by the time we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, boy, it's going to be nice and warm and very, very summer-like temperatures throughout the region. But by the time we get towards next weekend, that ridge breaks down, a weak system moves through, and then once we go 7 to 10 days out, we have a potential of a pretty strong system moving into the region. A lot of models are really kind of hinting at that, so we'll have to keep an eye and see how that develops in the exact track by the time we get to a week from now. Precipitation forecast for the next 5 days. It's going to be pretty wet on Monday. The heaviest rain will be along the Oregon coast, but the next several days after that, we're looking pretty dry. Current temperatures in the region, 71 in Medford, 65 out in Lakeview, 66 in Grants Pass, but we'll drop into the 40s and 50s. So a mild night overnight thanks to the cloud cover that we're going to have. Now for tomorrow, I expect the rain to be heaviest between about, say, 10 at noon here in the Rogue Valley. Eventually it'll decrease, but temperatures will be plenty chilly throughout the day. Only looking at 66 for Medford, low 60s for Brookings, 49 though, plenty of rain out towards Crater Lake. So the forecast for the Oregon coast, really rainy for Monday, but then it dries out for the next couple of days after that, and eventually we'll be seeing a chance of rain again next weekend. Northern California, upper 60s to low 70s for the next couple of days. Morning fog on Tuesday, but we could be looking at a record high temperature possibly on Thursday out towards Montague. Klamath Basin will be in the 60s for the next several days, however, flirting with 80 by the time we get to Friday. And for the Cascades, 50s for tomorrow, morning fog, sunshine on Tuesday, 70s Wednesday through Friday. And for the Rogue Valley, could be looking at, besides rain for Monday, morning fog, afternoon sun on Tuesday, pretty warm Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, could be flirting with a record high temperature on Thursday.